All right, welcome back to Sunrise. So it's still Child Month, so we're keeping Tech Time student focused today. So we're back with week 2 of our cyber series, and this morning, Cyber Bright founder Emma Sharp Dalton Brown will be tapping into reels and videos. Yep, that endless scroll can hide more than we bargained for, and she's here to unveil it all. Emma, good morning.
Morning, Emma.
Good morning to both of you.
What do you mean it can? What do you mean there's more than we know?
Well, yeah, I'm afraid when you're scrolling videos and reels, you have no control of what's coming up. And especially for children, actually these apps are designed to push things, especially for that age group. So things like mental health, could you be feeling down and depressed? There is a tendency to push videos like this. And once you start re-watching a video like that, more and more of them come up. And it could lead to quite a lot of harm and put ideas into children's heads.
Yes, I agree. There are so many times when my son is on his tablet watching things, and then I hear an advertisement, and I'm like, but that's not appropriate for, why is that stuff coming up in you know, the algorithm sending? He's watching Teen Titans or something like that.
Right.
I just find it so, it makes me very uncomfortable.
Yeah, and it's very concerning, and there's been a lot of research done. Amnesty have done research. I know companies in Ireland have done research over looking at what is being exposed to these 13-year-olds and older teens as well, and even younger kids, tweens,
Yeah. What are we walking through today?
So today we're going to talk about reels and online videos, right? So we can get started. So this is part of my cyber safety workshop, which is an hour and 10 minutes. But these are just little snippets that we're doing each week. So basically, Cyber Bright, we're learning to navigate through cyberspace in a safe and smart way. So are all online videos and reels safe, right? Gabby and Justin are 13-year-old twins. So these are 2 little characters that I use in my workshops. And depending on the age of the class I'm teaching is how old I make them. So if it's older teenagers, I make them 16 years old, younger teenagers, 13. We can move on. So if we look at the next, right, so Gabby, she comes across this video on TikTok, right? Here it says, how it fools, right? How it feels knowing no one has ever been scared to lose me. So these types of videos come up on TikTok. And this was part of what came up for this particular research. If you see, it's got 402.5 thousand likes, right? Over 1,000 people have commented. So she's very disturbed by this content, right? She wants to share it with friends because she might think, oh, you know, I know somebody who's depressed, maybe this will help them, right? Or she might think, oh gosh, I need to show this, I need to share. What do you think she should do?
But if she shares it, then more of that content is going to start coming to her feed, the algorithm.
Yeah.
And she's exposing other people who might be very vulnerable, and putting ideas into their head is not a good idea. If we get to the next slide. So just to explain to you what happened, right? RTE Primetime set up 3 TikTok accounts, all set at the age 13. There was no preferences, nothing, right? Researchers did not search, like, comment, or engage with any content. But they only watched the For You feed. Now that is how TikTok tends to work. People watch the For You feed, right? They rewatched any video related to mental health, right? Within 10 minutes, a lot more videos came up that were related to depression. Within 20 minutes, this was on all 3 devices. Within 20 minutes, nearly all videos were related to mental health or self-harm. And within an hour, they were almost exclusively fed content to do with mental health, self-harm, and suicide. These were actually the three accounts that were set up, so they knew nothing else about it, right? Amnesty International has done a similar study. There have been quite a few. All you need to do is look it up and you'll find it. And it is actually quite worrying. If we move on to the next slide, right? So age now. TikTok is 13. Okay, but these 13-year-olds were still exposed this content. All right, YouTube, also 13. But what if Gabby and Justin were 11-year-old twins? Their social studies teacher gives them a YouTube link to watch a video. We know, right?
Yeah.
From our school with our kids, right? What happened is that from when they're young, they're given YouTube videos that are educational.
Yeah.
So you have to watch your, you learn about slavery, so you watch a video on slavery, right? On YouTube, which by the way, it's a 13, but these kids, they're younger than 13. If we can move on, please. Right, so they watch this educational video and they keep scrolling to the next video because that's how it works. You just keep scrolling and it's very easy. Adults do it, very easy for children to do it. This warning comes up. Should they click and proceed?
No, but they're going to.
Correct.
Because they have to watch it.
Right, so no, because they've watched the video already.
Okay, yeah.
Right, but when I ask children, 99.9% of them say they're going to click.
I think that actually almost sparks their interest more because they're just like, wait, what is this that I'm not supposed to see?
Right,
Yeah.
right. So what I tell the kids is that there are a few things. Once you see something, you cannot unsee it, right? If it's an inappropriate video, your algorithm is being set. So what happens if you start watching an inappropriate video, more inappropriate videos are going to come up. And then that's your algorithm. That's your digital footprint. Your digital footprint has made now a record of you like to watch inappropriate videos, right? If you click on it by mistake, come out of it immediately because your digital footprint will also show that you did make an attempt to come out of it immediately. So the idea is do not, right? While the video itself on YouTube may be appropriate, so the first video was appropriate, right? To share with young children. So you're like, okay, it's an educational video, that's fine. Scroll and watch the videos endlessly can often, right, lead to this inappropriate content. And this happens, YouTube, TikTok, lots of different sites that have video, right. So there are many educational videos that are not on YouTube Kids, right? Teachers need to start making an effort to look up educational videos on YouTube Kids.
Yes.
The problem is, when I looked up on YouTube Kids for slavery, all that came up is about American slavery. When I looked it up for Caribbean slavery, nothing came up. Doesn't mean now I didn't search for like hours and hours and hours, but nothing automatically came up.
Higher.
So it makes it right. Now, what we can do as adults who are posting videos that we want children to see who are young, we can make the effort to upload those videos on YouTube Kids, right? So if we move on, right? So we don't want to go down the rabbit hole.
So this is for the adults too.
Right? It is, exactly.
Yeah.
And what happens is that when you go down that rabbit hole, that content, that inappropriate content that the children are seeing, when it comes to self-harm, suicide, things like that, these companies, they are pushing those videos because they know you're going to watch it. They know you're going to rewatch it. And what is that? That makes them get more money. So if we go to the last slide.
Crazy.
So the dangers of inappropriate reels and videos, right? So I've got an acronym here. Do not share reels and videos containing nudity or self-harm. You could really, 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 when you think about kids who are depressed or any kids, and all kids have insecurities, would you send your kid off with a group of kids who are talking about suicide, right? Talking about self-harm, showing them what they've done, showing them how to do it, glorifying it. And that is what TikTok is feeding them. That research that was done that I just showed you, that is what it's feeding them. So it's very dangerous. If you have a really happy kid who has no problem and is probably never, but there's so many kids who will, right? Algorithms are formed once you start watching them, so we need to be mindful of that, which then leaves a negative digital footprint, right? Once you're watching these negative things and these, especially when it contains self-harm or nudity, get an adult if you're unsure of any reel or video that you're watching, right? And every reel or video you watch is clickbait. Companies make money, right? They're not doing it to benefit us. Doesn't mean they aren't fun and great things online. They are, and I maintain that all the time. Don't stop your kids from using the internet, but educate them, right? And remember, once you see it, you cannot unsee it. I know I've been sent videos before straight into my WhatsApp by people that I trusted, and I was horrified when I clicked on them because there was no indication they were horrified, they were disturbing. And I couldn't unsee them for months.
What I'd love for you to do when you return, I'd love for you to teach us maybe how to do a hard reset of our kids.
The devices.
So for me, there are, like, some of the times I'm like, no, he needs to not see this. I don't want this coming up. But I'm like, how do I block this? How do I
It's
control
really
it?
hard because I'll tell you, for instance, TikTok. Do you know if you type in self-harm or suicide, nothing's going to come up? You type in SH, you type in $H, and it'll come up. So it's very clever like that, right? And it's designed that way so that all the things that we put in to protect our children, right, are not 100% foolproof, which is why education is key.
I give you an example of how this works. So, for instance, I've seen it for a while now that my son will watch Paw Patrol, and he's watching Paw Patrol because I'm looking at the watch history, and I'm seeing he's watching Paw Patrol, and then it slowly evolves from Paw Patrol, as in genuine from the Paw Patrol
to adults pretending to be Paw Patrol.
Pretending to be Paw Patrol or talking about Paw Patrol.
Absolutely.
And then you end up with a funny video about killing Chase and 99 ways of sacrificing Chase. I'm like, how did we get here?
Well, exactly, which is why we really have to monitor the kids. And the truth is that the phones are not the only culprits, because anyhow you can get online, you can see this content. So my policy is I must hear and see what you're doing. I do limit times. There's certain things. I would actually rather my child sit and watch Netflix than scroll through YouTube. So if you want screen time, which I'm very strict about myself, right, for my kids, especially the younger one, but I will watch Netflix on the big TV right there in the living room. I know what you're watching. I know if a short is this, and that's it. So that is my sort of choice. But key is education, is showing and explaining children why this is important, because this is not going away. Like I said, the first time I came on was we teach people to cross a road. We teach them to swim, right? If they're going to be around water. Life skills. These are life skills that we learned from when we were born, practically. But we're not teaching those to our kids because we weren't taught them. There's going to come a point where it's going to be natural for, as the child can walk and talk, cyber safety is going to be part of it.
Thank you very much, Emma. Always a pleasure. Looking forward to the next installment next week, hopefully. That was Emma Sharp Dalton Brown, the founder of Cyberbright, reminding us to scroll with sense. All right, now from your screen to your plate, we're heading to the kitchen where some devilishly good eggs are about to hatch.
Oh, I hope they're not.
Allegedly. We'll be right back.
Not you and allegedly again.